dying man's voice was barely a whisper. Ben Rich, legendary director of America's most secret aircraft programs, gripped the hospital bed rails and spoke words that would haunt those present for decades. We already have the means to travel among the stars, but these technologies are locked up in black projects. What I'm about to tell you has been buried for nearly 30 years. The man who gave America stealth technology allegedly confessed to something far more extraordinary on his deathbed. Something that would rewrite everything we know about human technological capability. Ben Rich wasn't just any engineer. From 1975 to 1991, he directed Lockheed's Skunk Works, the most classified aerospace facility in America, the place where impossible aircraft became reality, where the U-2 spy plane was born, where stealth technology first took flight. For 16 years, Rich oversaw projects so secret that most Pentagon officials didn't know they existed. Black budgets, compartmentalized programs, technologies that seemed to violate the laws of physics. He was the keeper of America's deepest aerospace secrets. In March 1993, at a UCLA alumni event, Rich stood before a small audience of aerospace engineers. What he said that day would become the stuff of legend. But only a few were listening closely enough to understand the implications. Jan Harzan, who would later become executive director of MUFON, was in that audience. According to Harzan, Rich looked directly at him and said something that made his blood run cold. "We now have the technology to take ET home." The audience stirred uncomfortably. This wasn't theoretical discussion. This was the man who had overseen the most advanced aircraft programs in human history. He wasn't speaking in hypotheticals. He was speaking from knowledge. Rich continued, his voice steady despite the extraordinary nature of his words. He spoke of items found in the desert, items that were not of this world, items that had been reverse engineered in facilities like Skunk Works for decades. Tom Keller, an aerospace engineer who knew Rich personally, later claimed the Skunk Works director had told him something even more disturbing. The error rates in these recovered technologies were far lower than anything we could achieve. They weren't just advanced. They were perfect. By 1994, Rich was dying. Esophageal cancer was consuming him, and perhaps, with death approaching, his commitment to secrecy began to waver. He started making statements that would have ended his career decades earlier. But what did he have to lose now? According to multiple witnesses, Rich revealed that many UFO sightings throughout the decades weren't extraterrestrial visitors at all. They were tests of reverse-engineered craft that the military had been flying since the 1950s. In his final days of January 1995, as death closed in, Rich allegedly made his most chilling confession. He looked at those gathered around his bedside and whispered about technologies that would make Star Trek look like child's play. But these technologies, he warned, were being deliberately suppressed, locked away in black projects, controlled by powerful interests who believed humanity wasn't ready. The future of our species, hidden in underground facilities and classified files. Rich's final words to his closest associates were a warning that would echo through the UFO research community for decades. We have been lied to about everything. And then, on January 5th, 1995, the keeper of America's greatest secrets was gone. Within hours of Rich's death, any records of his alleged confessions seemed to vanish. No audio recordings, no video, only the testimony of a handful of witnesses whose lives would never be the same. They had heard the impossible truth. Jan Harzan spent years trying to verify what he had heard. Michael Schratt, a military aerospace historian, investigated the claims. Tom Keller came forward with his own testimony, all describing the same impossible story from different angles. The implications were staggering. If Rich was telling the truth, then humanity had possessed interstellar technology for decades. We weren't alone in the universe. and our governments had known it all along. The cover-up wasn't about hiding alien contact. It was about hiding human capability, about maintaining control over technologies that could revolutionize energy, transportation, and our understanding of reality itself. Technologies that would make fossil fuels obsolete, that would redistribute global power overnight. Nearly 30 years later, the Skunk Works continues its classified work in the California desert. New directors have replaced Ben Rich, but the questions he raised on his deathbed remain unanswered. What technologies lie hidden in those windowless hangars? Rich took humanity's greatest secrets to his grave, but his alleged confessions planted seeds that continue to grow. In a world where the Pentagon now acknowledges UAPs, where disclosure seems imminent, one question haunts those who knew him. What else did Ben Rich know? And perhaps more terrifying, if we've had the technology to travel among the stars for decades, what other impossible truths are locked away in black projects, waiting for the next deathbed confession to set them free? If you want to know what they're not telling us about the technologies that could change everything, subscribe. The next signal drops Wednesday,